Okay, there's a lot of discussion or confusion about what is a router and what is a shaper. If you log into various woodworking bulletin boards, people use the terms interchangeably. However, there is a large difference between a router and a shaper in the terms that are used in modern woodworking. Over here we have a typical 3 horsepower plunge router and a bit that would typically be used. It's actually a rather large bit for what most people would use. Has an outside diameter of about 2.5 inches. As such, it has a foot per second cutting speed of about 152 feet per second as the cutting edge goes to the wood. That will produce a very good quality of cut, but as you can notice, it's not a particularly large radius, and as we move to the need for larger profiles, larger amounts of wood removed during the cut, we need to step up to a larger type of technology that will support the extra mass being spun and the quantity of wood to be removed. So what we have in contrast to the router is shaper. Shaper, the particular one we're dealing with here today, is a Powermatic 27, and we have 2 sets of spindles available for it. The first quill assembly is what's referred to as an interchangeable spindle assembly. What that means is the large quill here that contains the bearings can actually receive several variable size spindles. So the spindle assembly goes in and is locked into place with a long bolt to secure it in place. It actually makes a fairly stable shaping platform, appropriate for this size of cutter, but as we need to spin a larger cutter for a larger profile cut, such as this one, what we will move to is a solid spindle assembly. So this single piece of steel extends all the way down through the bearings, as opposed to this assembly, which fits into a taper at the top of the quill and then is held in place by a fairly slim bolt. So this, in contrast to the router, is a very robust assembly, but then when we need to spin a large cutter, we want something more like this. A lot of people talk about the fact that a shaper turns more slowly. The particular model I'm working with here has 2 speeds, 7,000 RPM and 10,000 RPM. At 7,000 RPM, this cutter will have a foot per second speed of 152 feet per second, which is equal to the router with this bit, even though the router spins at 20,000 RPM. So the router spins a bit much more rapidly, but it's smaller bits, and the lower mass of the bit as it moves through the wood makes it more prone to chatter and vibration. 7 spindle shaper with the 1.25 inch solid spindle installed in the machine. I've also got the 1.25 inch radius rounding over bit installed. So I'll run through a pass on the shaper to show how it works. I will be using dust collection, ear protection, and goggles.